Is Angelina Jolie using the FBI as a weapon of revenge against Brad Pitt? Guys, this is freaking insane. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the news and pop culture stories of the day that's pretty much caught my eye. And oh my goodness, has Angelina Jolie been caught out using the FBI as some sort of revenge weapon against Brad Pitt? This is insane. Before I break it all down for you, though, you guys, a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hi, welcome, how are you doing? If you love news and pop culture stories on the daily, served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? Do make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And let's jump into this, shall we? So, where we start off with is the plane incident. And back in 2016, the FBI did a report into this. Now, there was some sort of conflict between Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt at the time that's alleged conflict, let's put it that way, on a private plane. Now, Angelina Jolie, under the pseudonym of Jane Doe, tried to then anonymously put in a Freedom of Information request for the FBI documents about the 2016 plane incident to be released. And this is all during the custody battle between her and Brad Pitt in regards to the 6 children that they share. So, right off the bat, guys, absolutely highly sus, right? Why would Angelina Jolie request anonymously under the pseudonym of Jane Doe this 2016 FBI report to be released under a Freedom of Information request? Well, it then means that that document goes into public record, right? And then that means, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that the media can then report on it, which is exactly what has happened here. So, Brad Pitt, as a result of all of this, thinks that Angelina Jolie is setting out to hurt him by submitting this Freedom of Information request and getting these documents released and making the details essentially public. About the altercation that then a couple of days later, Angelina Jolie then filed for divorce at that point. Now, people obtained the redacted FBI report, and in the documents, Angelina Jolie alleged to the authorities that Brad Pitt, whilst heavily intoxicated apparently, was menacing towards her and their 6 children on the 14th of September 2016 flight from France to LA. The investigation was closed by November, though, so it only took a couple of months, and no charges were filed, pursued, nothing happened against Brad Pitt. Now, a source close to Brad Pitt claims that both he and Jolie have had the documents in question for 6 years, and Jolie was likely meant to revive an issue that was painful for everybody and was resolved 6 years ago. Says the source, they investigated it, they prepared materials, reviewed it together, and decided not to charge him. As in, there's no evidence to support Angelina Jolie's claims about this whole altercation that happened on this plane back in 2016. If there was, charges would be filed, it'd be in court, it'd be a thing, right? But instead, crickets. Nothing happened. It was finished. It was dropped like a hot potato because, you can only safely assume, no evidence. All right. So, this then is the question. What are the motivations of a person, i.e. Angelina Jolie, to take up court time and public resources in filing an anonymous Freedom of Information Act request, otherwise known as a FOIA, FOIA, for material they've had for years. There's only one: to inflict the most amount of pain on her ex. There's no benefit to this. It's harmful to the children and the entire family for this to be made public. Now, they've had these documents for years, but they've been held under lock and key, right? Because it was private. They were private documents. But as soon as you make that Freedom of Information Act request, those documents, once they're released through that, become public. And that means then that everyone can see them, whether they're redacted or not. In this case, they are redacted, right? And it means then that the media can then report on it. Now, at the moment, in terms of, let's say, the public sense towards all of this, unless I'm completely reading the tea leaves wrong, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, the public consensus seems to be on the side of Brad Pitt, right? However, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, by Angelina Jolie anonymously, yes, anonymously again, submitting this request for these documents to be made public under the Freedom of Information Act, there's so much in those documents that do paint Brad Pitt in a bad light. And so by getting these documents released, maybe, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, she's trying to sway public opinion back into her favour and using the FBI as revenge to try and hurt Brad Pitt publicly. Again, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you see where I'm coming from here? This is a chess move, guys. And in all honesty, I don't know who to believe. I don't know whether to believe Brad Pitt or whether to believe Angelina Jolie in terms of what actually happened in terms with this altercation on that plane situation. I don't. The only thing I do know in terms of the facts of the matter is that the FBI investigated it and no charges were brought forward, i.e. that means there was no significant evidence to allow any charges to be brought forward against Brad Pitt. Just saying, right? Now, in the documents, Jolie had alleged to the FBI that Brad Pitt had grabbed, pushed and shouted at her on the plane, scaring her and their kids with his behaviour. Both parties reported injuries, and she claimed there was $25,000 worth of damage done to the private jet. Now, the Brad Pitt source does state, remember, this is not a factual document. This is what she claims has happened, right? It was investigated and there were no charges brought, and it's standard for these types of things to not be released. Now, the source again says, look, it's wave after wave of attempts to hurt him. And in my opinion, conspiracy theory or whatever, try and sway public judgment in her favour, right? He has remained virtually completely silent other than to acknowledge things he could do better. He's remained silent on this issue because he knows that's the best thing for his kids, what's best for everybody. He's maintained that stance despite a never-ending barrage of attacks and attempts made to use the courts against him. And now, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, the FBI against him with this whole report being released under the Freedom of Information Act. Then again, you've got to think about it. Angelina Jolie requested that anonymously under the pseudonym of Jane Doe. Why request it anonymously? Why? That to me is highly sus. Do you know what I mean? There's something not honest about it. If you're going to request it in your own damn name. What have you got to hide, right? What your intentions, what you got to hide? Do you know what I mean? But guys, this is getting more insane as time goes on. The divorce battle just trundles on and it's getting more nuts by the day. But guys, enough with my gob. It's time for your gobs to sound off in the comments down below. What do you think to all of this? Do you think Angelina Jolie was using the FBI report against him as some sort of revenge to hurt him publicly and to try and sway public opinion more in her favour? Or do you think that's not the case and she had other intentions? Let me know. And if you love this video and love news and pop culture stories on the daily when I can get my teeth back in, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until the next time, you guys, laters.